Hey everyone, Token Dave over here. The Turkey Token Black Guy was just trying to get by. Oh boy. Man, this is an interesting patch that I'm going through with my reviews at the moment. I just had to end Marvel Madness with basically Fantastic Four in 2005, and I have to continue the MCU franchise review, Phase 1 and Phase 2, with another one of the movies that are pretty low on my list, and that is Iron Man 2. Now, the first Iron Man movie was amazeballs, and I was really, really freaking happy with how well they put everything together with that movie. I knew they were going to end up doing a sequel, but I really wasn't interested in doing a sequel. I wasn't interested in seeing a sequel because normally when you make a movie that amazing, the follow-up doesn't tend to be as rewarding. Well, yeah, the trailers did not really get me interested much, with the exception of one thing: War Machine. Yes, War Machine was to be in action in this, and while he was not marketed as much, that got me real excited because, I love James Rhodes, in in the comics. I always basically one of the reasons why I kept reading Iron Man for as long as I did after a certain incident, which I will be discussing. My interest was to see how Rhodey would actually evolve into his own character. And so basically when Iron Man 2 was announced in the movie theaters, I didn't get to see it, primarily because of the girlfriend I had at the time, and but anyway, all that aside, let's go into Iron Man 2. So after revealing to the world that he is Iron Man, the United States government pretty much wants to take the Iron Man suit because in fear of basically other powers trying to mimic Stark's invention, which was displayed that it would be difficult to do. However, the shadows of basically Tony Stark's lineage comes back to haunt him when someone from Russia basically is able to duplicate Stark's technology that is keeping him alive, thus basically having the worries of Stark's technology going to the wrong hands revitalized and having the government take action in trying to take Stark's invention. If that's not enough, the same thing that saved Stark's life in the first movie with the arc reactor basically repulsing all the shrapnel from getting to his heart is actually basically killing him at the same time through lead poisoning and additional poisoning spreading throughout his body, and the use of the Iron Man suit basically increasing the likelihood that Stark will perish. So Stark, seeing that there's no way out of everything, is going on a downward spiral and basically dragging everyone else down with him. Okay, everybody. I am not going to do an adaptation application of this because Iron Man 2 is pretty much taking the plot of the Stark Wars, which are now affectionately known as the Armor Wars, and his most famous story arc, Demon in a Bottle. If I was to do an adaptation application of both of those, I'll pretty much tell you this right now: they would both be trash, And with that out of the way, does this movie actually make up for what a horrible adaptation of those stories are? In some ways, yes, and in some ways, no. Basically, Tony Stark in this movie is he's dying. So he doesn't see a way that he's able to basically fix any of these issues. So we see this downward spiral of his, and trying to watch him crash and burn, is pretty interesting. But we also get that pigheadedness of him where he doesn't want to reveal this to anyone else, with the exception of James Rhodes, whom is actually played by Don Cheadle at this point. One of the issues that I have with this movie is because Don Cheadle doesn't appear to have that chemistry with Robert Downey Jr. as Terrence Howard did, and pretty much, Don Cheadle Rhodey is aware of Stark's condition, and basically, while trying to reach out to Stark does it, well, a narcissistic, egotistical person doesn't want to, accept a helping hand from someone. Where have we seen this before? Oh, almost every freaking cliche possible. Oh boy. To top it off, Stark feeling that since he's about to die, he's handing over Stark Industries to Pepper Potts, whom he is not let into any of what's going on with him, and Pepper, trying to be a responsible person, is having all the pressures on her. And not for anything, I have to say, while Gwyneth Paltrow, I actually like her a lot more in this one, they really, I don't know, everything seems a little too... the chemistry didn't flow as the first movie. It felt like, they were really trying to play up the moonlighting angle more so with Pepper and Tony, and, it doesn't work well for me. For me, it doesn't work well, A welcome addition, however, is Scarlett Johansson in this movie, whom is basically, as we all know, she's Black Widow, but as she starts off, we find out that, she's actually a covert agent working for S.H.I.E.L.D., and not for anything, her presence in here was greatly mysterious, and basically we knew there was something up with her. We just couldn't put our fingers on it, and if it wasn't showcased all that much in the trailers, this would have been fairly interesting, for the general audience as well. Mickey Rourke is up in this movie, as well as Sam Rockwell as the antagonist in this movie, with Mickey Rourke being Whiplash and Sam Rockwell as Justin Hammer. And I really hate what they did to Justin Hammer. They made him basically, they pretty much made him a Weasley, buffoonish CEO and all. And yeah, Justin Hammer in the comics is more cunning, calculating, and a lot colder, and is actually a worthy a worthy white-collar adversary of Stark, in the same vein as Obadiah Stane was in the comics, which we don't see in these adaptations. I get that they have to put the focus on the heroes a little bit more, but, we need both that physical threat that Whiplash was supposed to give Tony, as well as that basically psychological and, mental threat that was supposed to come from Justin Hammer. And, all this pressure up against Iron Man, it really didn't resonate well. Basically we couldn't take, Justin Hammer seriously as a villain, and it was difficult to take Mickey Rourke serious as a villain. Granted, in some deleted scenes, we got some additional, we got additional depth into Mickey Rourke's character, and I'm sorry, even with that additional depth, it still missed the mark. And, oh my good lord, War Machine, what did they do to him in this movie? Lord, that was a selling point for me, and pretty much, he was pretty much predominantly useless with the whole thing. And yeah, this movie was rushed, and you could tell it was rushed because basically the pacing was off. Basically the action sequences were not as exciting. It was really hard to empathize with Tony, with everything that he was going through at this point. Yeah, all in all, I gotta say, Iron Man 2 is cool. It's not as bad as other people were making out to be, because at the time people were saying, well, this was horrible. No, it wasn't horrible. It can be entertaining if you're in the right state of mind, but as a follow-up to the first Amazeballs Iron Man, it really hits the mark. However, it was successful enough to keep the franchise going, but yeah, this is cool. Take what you will from it. It can be entertaining. and it is interesting, but yeah, as it, there is more good than bad from this, but meh. What do you think, Mello? What do you think? Yeah, if you see Mello the Menace right here, he has the same look about Iron Man 2 as I did. Anyway, agree? Disagree? Please drop me a comment below, give me a like, follow me on Facebook at Token Dave or on Twitter at Token Dave 80, subscribe, ring that bell so you know when a new video loads, and spread this video out. But until then, this has been Token Dave, the dorky token black guy who's just trying to get by, and I'll catch all of you later. Say goodbye, Mello. Okay, well, see you all later.